Hello and welcome to the Nursing Hustle with Natalie, and today we are going to be talking about your assets. Yes, wait for it, stay tuned, sit back, relax, get something to drink, and we're going to talk about your assets before we get into anything further, because you guys are out there looking to make more money, my nurses. Yes, you are. I know you are, but how are you going to keep that money? Wait for it. Let's talk about it. And drop me some comments after you watch this video. Drop me some comments and let me know how you're planning to accumulate some assets this year, because making the money is one thing, but there's a lot more to it. Let's get into it now and let me know what you think at the end. I need to come talk to my ladies out there. So what if I told you that this generational wealth thing is for everybody? It's not just for the Trumps and for the Rockefellers. No, it's for everybody. So what's the problem, right? So you're like, why don't I have my millions yet, right? Well, first of all, if you're one of those people who's saying to yourself, who's not even asking why you don't have the millions, the first thing you got to do is ask why you don't have the millions, because that's your first step. Because you have to, first of all, you have to will it out there into the universe that you want your millions. Now, just putting it out there just like that, that's not going to get you your millions. Now, you want to know why you don't have it, right? Well, let me tell you a little story about me, right? And don't worry, I don't have millions yet, but I'm planning on getting it. I will get it. I will get my millions. But when I get my millions, I will know what to do with it. And you go, well, wouldn't we all? Well, no, not really. I'm going to turn this down because the stove is popping now and I want to talk to you. So, and I just realized I can't do both. So anyhow, once upon a time, right, when I first graduated from nursing school, I thought, I'm going to make all this money. I have all this talent. I'm going to do this, and the other thing. And, but the money was coming in, but the money was going out as quickly. And so this is a problem, right? So sometimes the universe does not, God, whoever you believe in, does not grant you those millions because you don't know yet how you're going to hold on to it, right? Because most of us want those millions so we can go buy a Gucci purse, a nice car, a Mercedes Benz, that mansion. And that's all great. We should have all those things. But that's not wealth. And why do you want those things, right? Why do I want a Gucci purse? Why do I want that fancy Gucci purse? So it might be just because I think the purse is pretty, and that's fine too. But it might just be because everybody else, if you have money, you have a Gucci purse, right? Well, what if I told you, like, all through my years, as I was like coming up through my nursing career, right? Up until now, up until probably the last 6 to 10 years, I've been in nursing for 30 years, that the money was coming in, it was going out. And yes, I had children to take care of, but I don't think that was it. I think it was more that it's who you surround yourself with and what you surround yourself with and where you surround yourself with, right? And I know we hear that all the time, but it hit me that it's so true. Had I had then what I had now, I wouldn't have it now. Because why? I was doing things that wouldn't afford me the ability to keep it. Like, it's like a gambler saying, I want $1 million. Well, they might get $1 million because they gamble, right? But will they ever really have $1,000,000? They're going to gamble it all away. Do they know what to do with that $1,000,000 so they can keep their wealth and grow their wealth, right? First of all, let's say you're constantly being drained by the people around you. So how are you going to keep your wealth? How are you going to grow your wealth? Next, you have bad habits, right? Like I said, the gambling, right? So if I'm gambling, if I'm taking my money and gambling it away, like there's no way. There's just no way. And now I can see, and oh, I forgot to say, if you are, if you're trying to keep up with the Joneses and you're doing what the Joneses do, guess what? The Joneses don't have money either. They just look like they do. So now you look like them, but you don't have any money either. Do you get what I'm saying? They don't have money. They just look, they have the nice car and you're like, oh, I want that nice car. I want that Mercedes. Well, they have those nice pair of shoes. They have that nice dress, that nice, they have that Fendi bag, or they have like that. And there's nothing wrong with those things. The only thing is that at the end of the day, they don't mean it. Those things don't mean a thing. They don't mean a thing. Like if you would see me every day, like you might see me come on here and you're like, oh, like she has a nice scarf, like that. Look, I'm going to be real with you. I like scarves. So guess what? Courtesy of Temu. I don't want to pay $100 for a scarf because it says Chanel. I don't want to pay $200 for a scarf because I don't need to, because I'm just going for the feel. I'm going for the temporary look. And at night, I'm going to take it off and throw it to the side and I'm going to bed until the next day. And what you'll find, it really didn't hit me until today. And I was like, oh, I gotta come tell my ladies this, that those things just don't, like, it doesn't, like, I could have $1,000,000 now. The last thing I would do is run out and go buy cars, houses. I mean, I have things I want in my life, but I might have a dream home that I want to build. And so I might figure out a way to do that, but that's not because I'm competing with anybody or somebody else is doing something. It's because that's been my dream for my whole life, of something that I want. And so I think if I work hard, I should be able to have and build that dream, as long as I have the wealth to go with it, to keep living that dream after I move into the house. Because I just saw an ad, right? Like during the pandemic, when everything was crazy, the housing market was booming, right? Everybody was running out to buy a house. It was like, oh, we're not renting anymore. We're buying, right? Everybody's running out to buy a house. Nothing wrong with buying a house, right? They made it was like they were moving to Florida. They were moving to here. And then now, you know what? Like, Trump is president. Everybody's like, I'm leaving Florida. It's too expensive. The problem, and it's ridiculous, because or Biden is president, so we can do this thing and that thing. And we can't run our lives on what other people are doing. We have to run our lives on what we're capable of doing, right? And like I said, there's nothing wrong with buying a nice watch, a nice purse, there's nothing wrong with that. But how many do you need, really? And if all your money is going to nice cars and purses, you're not wealthy, because this thing that you call an asset, like your car, is not an asset. Assets grow money. Assets grow wealth. Your car is depreciating every single day. That's not an asset. Anything that has a depreciation factor is not an asset. It looks good. You look good in it, I'm sure, but it's not an asset. So I was looking at myself and my husband, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like we run around like with our shorts half the time. He runs around in a tank top around the house. Not everywhere. He doesn't go to work in a tank top, of course, but we don't have these. We have things that we like, that we get for ourselves. Like if we want it, I can get it. If I can afford it, I buy it. But it's not first of all, it's not at the whim of somebody else has something. And it's not because I'm trying to compete with someone else. It's not because I think that thing is going to make me look like I have money. No. That thing is depreciating. It's going to break a few years down the road, and it's not going to be worth anything. So that's not an asset. It's just something that I want. And what I think is that for those of you out there that want the million, that know you want the million, but you don't know why, take a look around you. I'm not even kidding. Take a look around you and see who is draining your assets. And you know what your assets are? Your assets are the money that you make that you could invest and make more money. Your assets are your time and your energy. Are you putting that in the right place? Those are your assets. Those are your assets that grow your wealth. Your creativity. But how can you be creative if you're spending your time with the wrong people that are not being creative? You see what I'm saying? And everyone has the ability to do this. And sometimes growing your assets mean that you need a little sabbatical so you can think and be in your own mind and grow that creation that you want to grow, right? Because only you know what that creation is. The people around you don't know. And if you're going to ask them for advice, they might not be giving you the best advice. They might love you. They might want to, but only you know what that creation is. So sometimes you need that alone time, that time to be in your space. So I think for me, I spent a lot of years, right, where I don't know if I was the black sheep of the family. I don't know. But I don't know if I want to call myself that, because it doesn't really even matter at this point to me. But I didn't have a lot of contact with family. And I'm like, oh, wow. Not that I don't want contact with family, not that, or maybe I didn't have a lot of contact with a lot of friends. And, the thing is that those years that you think oh my gosh, that's what everybody else is doing. Why can't I do that? Why am I not invited to that party? Why am I not? Well, you know what? You're not invited to the party because you're supposed to be having your own party. It's your party. You're supposed to have your own party. And when I say your own party, you're supposed to have your own party figuring out how you're going to get that million that you want. That's what you're supposed to be doing. Because that million that you want, if you have your own party and you do the things that you're supposed to do, and get the education that you need around that, you can grow that million to 2 million, 10 million, 20 million, right? That's what I've learned anyway. So the next time you think to yourself, I just came real quick to tell you, the next time you think to yourself, oh my gosh, why isn't it coming? Start looking around. Start seeing where you are, where you're spending your energy, where you're spending your time. Are you spending your time learning how to get that million? It doesn't come, it comes at the expense of learning how to get the million. Even though the universe wants to give it to you, you have some education to get, because what it is that once you have that million, right? Are you going to squander it away? Or are you going to keep growing it? Or are you going to let other people come in and squander it away for you? Are you going to make good investments, bad investments? See, these are all things that we have to learn when we don't have a lot of money, because when we have the money, we don't want to squander. I'd rather squander $10 than to squander $1 million, right? So if I make that mistake, those lessons that you learn by squandering away that $10, that $20, that, as opposed to the $1 million, a lessons learned. And so when we stop thinking about things as if they're not coming, as if it's not for us, or, I want that million, but it's not for me. No, think of it as I have some lessons to learn so that when I get that million, I can keep that million and grow it even further. That's generational wealth. And that's the generational wealth that the universe wants for everyone. But the generational wealth isn't for you to go compete with somebody else about what non-asset that you have. Because I'm going to call it a non-asset for lack of a better word, because it's not an asset. Your car is not an asset. Your clothes are not assets. Everything depreciates once you leave the store. Once that return period expires on the piece of item of clothing that you bought, most of the time you're going to take it to the, what do you call those stores? You could take it to the Goodwill. You can give it away, or they have like those stores where you can sell your clothes, but you're never going to sell it for the amount that you bought it for. So that item of clothing has just depreciated. You'll never get the return on the investment that you put in on it. And so to me at this point, I was thinking, I was like, I don't, like this Christmas came around, I was like, I don't want anything. I don't need anything. I have clothes already. I have shoes. You know, I want my family to be healthy. I want to be healthy. So those things are important to me because those things are assets. Your health is an asset. Why do you think I'm doing this 30-day challenge, self-care challenge? Self-care is an asset that you give to yourself because we get to that point between 50 and 75 or so where your health could possibly decline. So this is self-care time so that you can prolong the amount of time you have at the end that's spent healthy. That is an asset. Right? Because that asset buys you time. That your health buys you time. God willing. But anyhow, that's all I have. Drop me a comment. Let me know what you think about that. Let me know. I want to know what your thoughts are. And, you know, I hope this message found you well. You stay beautiful, you stay inspired, and you stay empowered so you can keep taking care of yourself and those around you. And I love you. See you in the next video. Subscribe if you haven't. I am so glad you're here. And okay, love ya. Bye.